Comparison is the downfall of motherhood. Let me tell you what I mean. Hi, I'm Krista from Moms Find Truth. So what we tend to do in today's day and age is we come up with arbitrary standards for just about every aspect of motherhood. And then with those arbitrary standards in our head, we look around at all the moms around us, whether it be our friend groups, Instagram, Facebook, movies, whatever it is. And we rate the other moms on those arbitrary standards. And then we rate ourselves and determine where we've come short. And often the true definition of coming short is that we fell short of where other moms are. It's not even necessarily short of this standard. It's in comparison to other moms. Now, I do this. You do this. All God's children do this. But that's what's really sad, is that also those moms who don't know Christ do this. And that's more understandable, because if you're not following Christ, you have to come up with your own standards, what's right and wrong, and what we're called to do. But we don't have to do that. In fact, we're called not to. God's given us a much better way. There are two standards of which I believe we should measure ourselves by. The first question we should ask ourselves is, am I becoming more like Christ? Which could be the only question you ask yourself. Biblically, you'll have yourself covered at that point. If every day you're striving to become more like Christ, you will be becoming the best mom you can possibly be. But the other question I like to ask myself, just to get a little bit more specific in application, is, am I better than yesterday's me? And that can be more specifically applicable to, what struggles did I have yesterday? Or by yesterday, in the recent past, what have I been struggling with? And in those particular areas, am I improving? Not, am I closer today than to this person I see online than I was yesterday? It is just comparing me to Christ and me to me, or yesterday's me. And if I'm continuing to become more like Christ, and I'm continuing to improve in the individual areas I personally struggle with, and continuing to become better than I was yesterday, that's all the comparison that I need to do. Now, there will be many parts, I want to add in a clarification, that there will be many times in your life where a godly influence will speak into your life and will give excellent input. Maybe open your eyes to a struggle that you didn't see, or maybe give you a better solution. Maybe challenge you to continue overcoming a struggle that you'd given up on. Receiving godly advice, taking it to heart and applying it to your life is very different than just looking at other people, comparing yourself to them, envying what they have, and trying to become them. So in these two questions that I suggest asking yourself on a regular basis, am I becoming more like Christ, and am I better than yesterday's me? There's two tips that I'd like to give you to help you achieve that. First tip, stay in God's word. If you're staying in God's word, He is going to be revealing to you the areas that you are not becoming like Christ in, and you can start working on those. If you stay in God's word, it's also going to keep becoming like Christ in the forefront of your mind, even in the ups and downs of life, the peak reactionary moments. it's going to be right there in the forefront of your mind, changing how you respond and how you behave and who you are becoming. The second tip is choosing your friends. Now, can you become better than yesterday's you all by yourself as long as you have God at your side? Absolutely. Is it easier with a group of like-minded friends? Absolutely. But I think this is a very important clarification to make, because I believe surrounding yourself with a group of friends will pull you in one way or the other. It will have a massive effect on you. But depending on what friend group you choose, it could be pulling you in the opposite direction of where you want to go. So I believe I'm seeing a trend in today's young mom circles, but even in young Christian mom circles, to for there to be struggles in your life, whatever those struggles are, whether it be in how you're running your home, raising your kids, personal inward struggles, emotional, whatever, and you're struggling with it and getting over weaknesses, learning new habits, making the intentional choices to make changes. That's hard. It can be very hard. And so if you've been working at it for a while, or you just find it really bothersome, or you just don't want to take that initiative for whatever the reason is, if you would rather just stay where you're at, but there's a part of you that knows that you shouldn't be staying where you're at, what can help you in your endeavor to stay where you're at is to surround yourself with a group of friends that are very affirming. Oh, I've been there. I know what you're going through. It's as hard as I'll get out. You just do what you can do during the day. That's enough. If you don't conquer it, as long as you are doing you, as long as you are putting in the effort, you're good. What they're doing, affirming friends sounds great, but what they're affirming is staying in status quo. And notice the two questions I said you should ask yourself require you to grow, to move forward every day. You're not content to stay in the status quo, because you know that every day you can be getting better. You can be growing and improving. You can be more intentional. You can be even better at the role that God has called you to. So if your friends are affirming you in your status quo, they're not the friend group for you. I'm not saying be rude, stop talking to them. I'm saying the friends that you go to for input and advice, that should not be your friend group. So tip number 1, stay in God's word. Tip number 2, choose a friend group that is essentially tough love is what I'm saying here. So they will love you unconditionally, but they will also not be afraid to step in and say, I know you can conquer this. I know that you can be even better in this area. Maybe, how about try these tips or these things that I've tried in the past to get better. So true friendship is about loving each other. It's about encouraging each other, but it's also about challenging each other. Together, we can get to the next level in our journey of becoming more like Christ, and our journey in becoming better than yesterday me. Instead of saying we're going to work together to feel good about where we're at, let's say we're going to work better about recognizing how much we can grow. That is the friend group you need to hold on to forever. And on that note, I am actually growing a Facebook group to do just that. So if you are interested in joining a Facebook group with young Christian stay-at-home moms who are on fire for Christ and for being the best wives, moms, and homekeepers they can possibly be, then I would encourage you to check out the link below to the Moms Find Truth Facebook group. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.